How you doing today, folks? And welcome to Red Wolf EDC. Now, for this video, the lighting's going to be kind of poor. We're in the process of doing a big-ass move. The house is finally ready after a year in this other place. So I'm going to go to the main house, and I'm really looking forward to that. But for right now, no lighting, nothing like that going. The couch is pretty much the only thing left in the house right now. So it's not the ideal setup or anything like that, but this is a package from Original Goat. In particular, it contains some brass scales, which are going to add about like 7-8 ounces to the actual knife. Which, to be clear, is this knife, the Cold Steel AD-10, which is a knife I've had for a long time. And I love this thing, man, but it's kind of time for a change. So, in the box, we have a business card, pretty high quality business card, OG sticker, Original Goat, basic packing material, and the actual scales themselves, which will come in a bag like this. And damn, these are gorgeous. I don't know how well it shows up on camera right now with the poor lighting, but holy crap. Y'all close up look. These are in the gun stock configuration in brass. Now, originally, I wanted these to be like unmilled, to where there was like no lighting in the pocket at all in the scales themselves. But through some miscommunication and some other stuff like that, that wasn't able to happen because they had to basically completely redesign the mold, which is a lot to ask for, to be fair. So it's kind of like, it's all right, it's fine. There are some machining scratches on the inside, quite a lot of them actually. But as far as the actual scales themselves, they look pretty much perfect. So, for the magic of editing, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how this looks completed. I am horrible at putting knife scales on, so otherwise this would be like a 30-minute video of me just cussing at the air. So, yeah, let's, whoa! By the power of editing, I went from an actual person to a hobo, because this thing freaking broke me, man. So let's talk about the good parts first. This is how it looks all built up. Absolutely gorgeous. Big, overbuilt feeling, badass. Action is still very much intact. There we go. So, the problems with this are a few different things, right? First off, the machining is not perfect. I had to kind of take some tools and file some holes to where it's just a little bit bigger because things were literally not fitting. And I also, so yeah, there's like a pocket clip spacer, right? And it doesn't tell you where it goes. Now, if you're not familiar with the AD-10 platform, there's a whole bunch of milling pieces on the inside, on the outside, and different pieces of stuff like that. So a pocket clip spacer, means it should go roughly around where the pocket clip is at, but could be internally, could be externally. First off, I tried putting this together without the actual spacer, and because these two screws are in the exact same place, you literally cannot fully tighten the screws down. Now, that could have been solved in a myriad of different ways, not involving a spacer. Providing a slightly shorter screw would definitely work. You could also do a slightly thicker scale, but that could also have some problems. But what they instead have you do is that they mill out a little piece right here, and then you put the actual spacer in that. Now, the downside to that being, though, is that the pocket clip is now forever uneven. You cannot fully tighten down this top screw. If you do, the entire clip lifts off and then bends. So you have to kind of leave it partially loose. You fully tighten down this one right there. And then the actual top one, you kind of tighten down as much as you can. And now if you can hear this, the clip is just constantly bouncing. It doesn't feel great in hand because you can constantly feel it moving around. It makes it feel cheap. Even though these scales are not cheap and the knife itself is not cheap. Well, it's kind of cheap. I think I paid like $90 for this damn thing. But the scales are more than that. But it just makes it feel janky. Now, obviously, you can fix that. I'm going to take the actual clip off. Cannot talk. I'm going to take the clip off and then bend it a little bit and then put it back on, bend it a little bit, put it back on until it's actually like perfectly flush with the scales. Then that goes away. But all of these different problems should not be a thing. I'm sorry. Like the folks at Original Goat, I've met some of them at Blade Show. I've heard different stories about them over the years, right? They know machining, they understand tolerances and everything else, so you should not have to go through these things. Does the spacer work? Yes. They should put a video on the website. They should at the very least like point out, because if you go on the actual like install instructions, right, it doesn't tell you where it goes. Oh, the install will be very, very easy as long as you have the regular AD-10, not the light. Just put the hot clip spacer in. Where the fuck does that spacer go? Like, it's so basic, right? It would take like a 30-second video. Go, oh, put it right there, put the clip in, screw, and then put the clip, the screw in right here, screw partial all the way, make sure it's secure, done. It would be the easiest video ever. They don't have that. So I was sitting there trying to figure this thing out for a long time. Now, to be fair, right, I am not the best person when it comes to putting on scales. I have a history, right, of just absolutely failing at this. So most of y'all probably figured it out really, really fast. For the dummies like me, that video, an incredibly easy to manufacture video, would be amazing. Now, as far as the actual scales themselves, I got these in a bead blasted finish because they only had pictures of them polished. So I was like, all right, well, in order to help you guys sell a little bit more, let's go about doing a blasted finish. And we'll basically see how that wears. And, you know, from there, you kind of have a better idea. If somebody else asked you, because I wanted to know, like, wait, what's the polished finish look like versus the blasted? And we'll have a picture of the polished, but not the blasted. So not knowing what it's going to look like in the end, it kind of sucks. So I was like, all right, man, I'll play freaking guinea pig for y'all. So the blasted finish has a little bit more texture, I've noticed. It's not like slick at all. It also has all of this texture right here, so it really locks into your hand. Like, you can feel it. If you really bear down on it, I mean, like full white knuckle grip, you can definitely feel the actual texture itself. It does become a hot spot. That being said, if you're holding like a regular person, not a problem at all. But oh yeah, by the way, so this thing frustrated me so much, right? This took me like maybe like 2 hours. Again, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to disassembling and putting on scales. I'm just not. Normally speaking, I will do one set at a time. So I'll take all of this off on one side, leave the actual pivot in and everything else. I'll obviously unscrew part of the pivot and then, you know, swap out one side, turn it around, take off the clip, swap out the other side. If that's an option, really good at putting the scales back on. But because this is also a liner delete, so the AD-10 that normally has a steel liner, the steel liner is now gone. You have to fully take apart the knife, which also made me really appreciate the freaking genius, right? The genuine genius of Andrew Demko. The triad lock is something that I could have designed, or you could have designed, or anybody could have designed, because it's so simple and intuitive. You're like, how the fuck did nobody ever think about this sooner? How did I never think about this sooner? It's so simple, yet so incredibly effective, and revolutionized our industry for quite some time. But it's just remarkably simple. I'm like, wow, this is ingenious. So I loved that. Taking apart the knife really kind of showed me that. And I just have a massive appreciation for Demko knives now. Even like this is a cold steel variant of a Demko, to be clear. But even that version is just, it's so intuitive and so clean. It's just interesting, right? I loved it. With that also being said, this little freaking thing right here, the backspacer, right, which is how the spring locks onto the actual back lock, which creates tri-lock features to it. God damn it. I had the like internal component where you put the actual screw in, like a little spacer or whatever, on this damn little freaking backspacer fall out. I don't know how many times. I'd put it in right. Mind you, I don't have the best vision in general. You have to find a little flat spot. So I'm like doing like this, trying to find it. It would slip in, like, got it. And I go to set it down on the scale, it would just fall out. I'm like, fuck! This shit frustrated me so much, y'all, that I literally had to set the knife down and I went straight to bed. I was like, I am over it. My hair is fucking insane. I just woke up. I was like, all right, let's try this again. I knocked it out in 5 minutes. I was like, God damn it. So once you figure it out, it's not hard. You know, cool heads prevail. If you have anger problems, you know, maybe pay someone to do this. Like, because it pissed me off to the point where my body was just exhausted, so I went to sleep. So that's the crazy hair, change of clothes, everything else. But yes, I am overall very, very happy with this. There are some caveats that I'm not particularly happy with at all that could be very easy to fix. But for what it is, man, this is gorgeous, and it is already changing colors. So when you're dealing with copper or brass in this case, you're going to oxidize the scales no matter what you do. The polished version, honestly, are the fresh. No, actually no. It's either fresh or in the buff. I think it's fresh. Yeah, you know, this is in the buff right here. We're naming a convention, but whatever. The fresh one, I do think looks better. But I've had this knife for less than a day, and it's already gotten about 3 shades darker. So if you do go about getting the fresh one, is it pretty? Is it polished? Is it nice? For sure. But it's going to look like this almost immediately. And because this is blasted, this has a more like matte finish overall, which I personally really enjoy for brass. So I'm actually really happy with the blasted finish. It's hard to see on camera right now because my lighting setup is just garbage. But like, it's getting this really nice, like bronzy gold to it that I genuinely just think is gorgeous, and I'm very, very happy with. So, as far as the original GOAT brass gun stock scales, do I recommend them? Honestly, I do. With those caveats in mind, they need to release a video of where to put the damn pocket clip spacer, right? They need to just disclose that you're going to have to bend your clip. There's little things here and there that would be a tremendous help to the whole process as a whole, if you are dumb like me. But otherwise, man, they're gorgeous. I love them. This knife is now a tank. They estimated this is going to be about 11 ounces. Actually, I'm going to do through the magic of editing. Let's see how much this actually weighs. All right, so we have 12.2 ounces. So an absolute beast. Yeah, man, it's a big knife. I love it. But anyways, y'all, my girl is home. I'm not trying to get yelled at. So as always, folks, I love you all. Please take care. Hello, baby. And bye-bye.